Yeah, well, I'm very blessed to have been brought up in a Christian family, and as somebody who always loved to sing anyway, it was something that I always did and always enjoyed. But it was something that I had to then learn and think I'm not singing just because I love it. Although I think the more you do it, the more you love it. But
Mm.
I think that I've become a lot more aware of this as I've been helping lead other people in singing. And I guess particularly I became a mum 10 years ago, and just trying to work out what are the things that I want to pass on to my kids, and what are the spiritual disciplines, what are the key things that I would like to make seem like breathing and brushing your teeth. What are the things that I can really help them in? And I was aware that a lot of people spend time teaching their kids how to pray, or teaching their kids how to read the scriptures. But actually, that notion, what does it mean to teach them how to sing?
Because that's an important part.
Yeah, exactly. It's such a critical part to it. And in fact, that will really help them learn how to pray and help them remember those texts. And so I guess, my passion for it and my exploring it has been accelerated by being a mum,
Yeah.
and trying to use that to pass on to them. So if and Eliza, our firstborn, she was maybe 3 or 4, we started doing a hymn a month with our kids, and
Wow.
that has been a wonderful thing. Just I've got 4 young children, and it's really difficult. And I can imagine anybody might listen here, oh my goodness, not another thing that I have to do, or another thing that I might be feeling at, because believe
I'm
me,
there.
I go to sleep many nights going, what was that, of the day that I just had. So this is not to discourage in any way, but actually I have found it, I think to myself, well, if it's been a crazy day, at least here's a song that's going around our house this month, and I can play it as they're falling asleep, or I can play it in the car as we're going somewhere, or I can sing it as I'm making dinner. I can say, hey, we're doing our hymn of the month. I write it on a little board in their room, and it's just a little focal point, because life goes so fast, and there's obviously a very important place to sit down and read scriptures with your kids, and that you're training them up in the ways of the Lord. But actually, I find that to be low hanging fruit, and I'm
Mm.
not trying to straight jacket them into it and force it on them, but just creating a soundtrack in our home that reminds them of these truths. So this month, it is well with my soul is the song that we've been teaching them, and that's led to certain questions as to what does it mean to have assurance, who is Satan, and what does that mean.
Mm.
And just it actually has encouraged questions and answers that I might not have thought to do so
Yeah.
readily, but they're singing these things. And the great thing is also, I was just thinking this the other day, because it's May and school is coming to a close, and so we haven't just been as on it this month because there's so many things going on. But it just occurred to me, though, it's so great, even if they learn the first verse, these hymns, like "It Is Well With My Soul," have been sung for generations and will continue to be sung. And so it is a long-term worthwhile investment, that if they
Yeah.
get a little bit of it now, then they can add to it. C.S. Lewis talks about how children learn in the essay he wrote on education and children. And he said, children learn not so much as a train. A train goes from station to station. They don't learn this, then leave it behind, but they learn as a tree adds rings, and they grow in an understanding. I think hymns is a wonderful way to add rings, because every little layer of it is something new, and they're learning it in music. And I love the fact that I sang great is your faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness, when I was a little girl.
Yeah.
My parents had it at their wedding. I sang it as a teenager. I sang it in my 20s as a student. I sang it as a newlywed. I sang it with kids, and now 41 years old, and I keep singing it. And that song then captures so many points in my own journey of understanding what God's faithfulness is. So I want my kids to have that same thing.
If you enjoyed this conversation from the Transforming Discipleship podcast, listen to the full episode at SmallGroups.com/podcast.